Aloha, it's Robert Stellick with Blue Planet Surf. Today's video is all about our new Kai Zen V3 paddle, which is a beautiful paddle. I think it's the best paddle on the market today. A few years ago, we launched our Kai Zen V1 paddle. This was our first paddle in the Kai Zen range. It's a three-piece paddle, fully molded. It has these nice little bumps on the front ridge of the paddle, which makes it really easy to grip. Turned out to be an excellent paddle. Really liked it. So this was a three-piece paddle that can be hot glued together and then taken apart. So it's a great travel paddle. But then in the spirit of Kaizen, which means continuous improvement, we further evolved this design and made some improvements to it and came out with the Kaizen V2 paddle, which is this one here. We made the handle adjustable. It's a hot glued handle that you can heat up and move up and down. And then we use a more traditional rolled shaft. It still has the oval shape, so it's real grippy and easy to handle, but it's a more traditional shaft, which we found is a little bit stronger than the three-piece construction. And then we shortened the blade shaft a little bit. It still has that really aerodynamic blade head here. And then we developed it further. And so our latest iteration is the Kai Zen V3. This is our newest Kai Zen shape. So some of the upgrades we made to the Kai Zen V3 are, first of all, the blade design. We kind of curved this tip more and have a deeper concave in the tip. So the deeper concave really gives you a nice amount of catch. The tip of the blade has kind of a pointy tip, and that allows the paddle to just enter the water real smooth and kind of break the surface tension of the water. So it has a real smooth entry, and then that concave gives you an immediate catch. So once you place the blade into the water, it just catches that water right away with that concave tip. So then once you pull on the blade, the power phase is super smooth. It has that deep dihedral here with concaves, and then it's flat to the side, so there's not a lot of power loss, but it just has a really rock steady power phase where it just kind of grabs the water and holds steady. It doesn't have that flutter like you get with some of the flatter blade paddles. So you don't have to waste energy on trying to keep the paddle going straight. It just goes really smooth in the water. They do have a narrower shape as well. So the narrower shape is just more efficient. It's less fatiguing, basically. So smaller, more efficient blade. And then the top of the blade has an oval shape. The shaft and the blade are kind of locked in together with that oval shape, so that it can't twist. Even though it's hot glued, it doesn't come loose because of that oval shape. It really locks it in. And then the other advantage of that shape is that it also keeps the water flowing smoothly around the shaft, and that prevents air bubbles from forming and sliding down the blade face, and that reduces the amount of slip you have with the blade. So you get a really nice catch, and you don't get a lot of slippage with this blade just because it's so smooth and efficient. Especially here at the interface between air and water, it's really important to have a very aerodynamic shape in the blade shaft, is what I found. So by having this oval smooth shape without any ridges or bumps, makes this paddle more efficient and has less slip in the water. So in terms of blade size, the Kai Zen V3, we have two blades available now. It's a 90 and an 80. The 80 is quite small. The surface area is measured from here all the way down, so it's measured a little bit different than our older paddles. The smaller blade is excellent for surfing. It gives you a real nice, smooth, quick acceleration for catching waves and so on. Then the slightly bigger 90 is a great paddle, for all-around paddle for racing and surfing. I really enjoy this blade. The 90 is my favorite. All the paddle blades also have an ABS reinforced edge, so that keeps it from chipping or getting damaged if you touch the bottom or bang your rails and so on. So it has the reinforced edge with the ABS inside. Okay, so next let's look at the shaft. The shaft, as I said, is oval shaped. So by having an oval shaped interface between the blade and the shaft, as well as the handle and the shaft, it keeps it from rotating. So we're able to use hot glue to attach these together, which is really nice. When you travel, you can heat it up and take the blade off, so you don't get damage to the paddle when you're traveling. Also, the top handle is adjustable, so you can heat it up with a hot gun or with a hairdryer, and then by warming it up, you can slide the handle up or down inside the shaft, and then as soon as it cools off, it's set in place again. I like to cut my shaft so the handle is about halfway in, So that way I can slide it down about 4 or 5 inches or slide it up 4 or 5 inches. So it gives you about 8 inches of extra extension that you can play with. So if you want to try a shorter paddle, longer paddle, you can adjust it while you're using it, but it's very easy to adjust the length with a heat gun or a hair dryer. So that's also nice if you want to have one paddle for both surfing and racing. You can make it a little bit longer for racing and a little bit shorter for surfing. So and then compared to the Kai Zen V2 paddle, it's the same at the top, but we made the bottom a little bit narrower. So if you look at it from the side, you can kind of see that the shaft on the V3 is a little bit smaller than the V2. So we reduced the diameter slightly of the oval shaft. It just makes it more comfortable in your hand. I just find a smaller diameter shaft, even with my big hands, it's just less fatiguing than bigger diameter shaft. And then another cool feature is that when you cut the shaft to size, if you want to have the thinner part of the paddle, you can cut the bottom. If you want to have a little bit more thickness to the shaft, you can cut it from the top. So for most people, we recommend cutting it from the bottom. So you want to measure it and then figure out how much you want to cut off and then cut it off from the bottom of the shaft. That way you kind of keep the thinner part of the shaft on top, which I find is more comfortable for me, but other people might prefer a little bit wider shaft, and you can just cut it from the top. You'll have a little bit wider, stiffer shaft. You know, the stiffness with the oval shaft has a nice amount of flex, but I would say it's more on the stiff side. Personally, I'm not a fan of super flexible shafts. I know some people like them for bad shoulders and so on, but this shaft is more on the stiff side. I mean, it does have some flex, so when you pull on it, basically the idea is when you set your paddle and you pull on it, you get a very direct power transfer. There's not a lot of power lost to flex, so it transfers your power right into your stroke. Another cool feature of the shaft is the mono grip, we call it. It's like a shark skin type of grip. It has like these little ridges that keep your hand from sliding up and down. Gives you a nice grippy texture without giving you blisters. So it's a smooth finish, but it does have these little ridges that keep your hand from slipping up and down the shaft. And then last but not least is our Kaizen V3 handle. So the handle shape is very unique. It's our exclusive design. It kind of has a nice surface for your palm to sit on, and it almost forces you to use more pressure from your top hand, pushing down on the paddle and then keeping your fingers relaxed over the top of the handle. It's real ergonomic, doesn't give you blisters in your hand, and it's great for longer distances. It just keeps your hands relaxed. It also keeps your wrists straight, so you don't tend to bend your wrist back or forward. Like a lot of times the paddles will cause your wrist to kind of bend a little bit, which can cause wrist problems. So this handle is very ergonomic, and the other cool feature is, like I said, it's oval shaped, so the handle can get loose and twist. It just locks it in place, and then with the hot glue you can heat it up and then change the height of your paddle. So I recommend usually cutting it so the handle is about halfway in the shaft. That way you can slide it down or slide it up inside the shaft, and gives you, I think, about 8 to 10 inches of play that you can shorten or lengthen your paddle without cutting the shaft at all. You still have that smooth shaft, so you don't have a big bulky attachment piece here, so you can slide your thumb up to catch the paddle when you're switching sides if you want. It also keeps the paddle lighter and stronger than having an adjustable piece right here. So in my opinion, this is kind of the best of both worlds. It does have like a smooth, slightly curved blade face that works really well for surfing too. It skims very nice and neutral. It's just a great all-around paddle. Of course, our paddles come with a 1-year warranty, so in the first year, if anything's damaged, we'll replace it at no charge. After that, we have the individual parts available, so if you break a shaft or a blade or a handle, you can just replace that part and you don't have to replace the whole paddle if part of it gets damaged. Alright, so thanks for watching this video about the Kaizen V3 paddle. Hope you enjoyed it. Please give us a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel down below, and we'll see you on the water. Aloha and a hui ho.